Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today is the beginning of October, which means it is question time. So what question time is, it allows you, my viewers, to ask interesting, thought-provoking questions in the comments down below, and at a later date, in this case, this upcoming Tuesday, which will be October the 5th, record my answering video. Due to the fact that Pancake is quite busy with her schooling at this point in time, I don't feel like she's going to be able to join me for the answering, but hopefully that's still all right. Again, ask your interesting questions, and with that being said, I'll talk a little bit about myself, and I always like to talk about what I've read in the past month. So, in the past month, I finished reading A Scanner Darkly by Philip K. Dick, or PKD, and for those who are familiar with his works or not familiar, basically, Philip K. Dick creates quite not magical, but quite unique worlds in the sense that things are not how they appear. In the case of this book here, it was written in the 70s, I believe, and that's just kind of the time frame that he tends to write, like that's when he was active. So it's an older sci-fi novel, but the general concept is there is a drug enforcement agent who is basically tasked with hunting down a particular individual, but unbeknown to himself, that individual he's hunting down is actually himself. It's not really a spoiler. It literally tells you at the very beginning if you read the back of the book. So it's kind of a weird, like, cat and mouse game, except the protagonist is both the cat and the mouse. It's an unusual thing. Basically, the reason why he doesn't know is because he's addicted to Substance D, which is a magical drug that can split the hemispheres of your brain, so you can have split personalities where you don't know what's happening. I kind of, like, it's quite an interesting read. Like, it is definitely a different style, and due to the fact that it is, like, an older book, like, it may read a little bit more almost, like, clunkier, because perhaps the writing style is a bit more archaic, like, especially those, like, who are not used to reading older sci-fi. Like, I feel like PKD is kind of, like, the oldest I really like to go sometimes, because if I go back to, say, like, Brave New World, that was, like, difficult to consume, not because like the content was not interesting, but just the writing style just felt a bit more cumbersome. And I guess I'm also comparing it to reading, I don't have it in my hand here, but I read the Three Body Problem trilogy recently, which is from 2010s, like quite modern sci-fi, and it was much more like easy to read overall, like just flows better as a whole. At this exact moment, I'm currently reading Ilium. I just started it. It's by Dan Simmons. Dan Simmons wrote the Hyperion Cantos, which is definitely my top 2 sci-fi series of all time. I feel like Three Body Problem is still my favorite, but Hyperion is definitely quite magical, especially book 1 and 2. So I like the author. I've only just started it. It's a pretty long novel. It's interesting thus far. I don't quite know exactly what's happening. It's still a lot of world building and just like setting the scene, so to speak, but that's kind of expected for starting a new sci-fi series. And there are 2 books, I believe, in this particular one here, and I think they're both reasonably long, so I look forward to reading this and then the subsequent afterwards. But with that being said, hopefully all of you have a truly fantastic day. Feel free to ask those interesting, exciting questions down in the comments below. And also, if you do read books, tell me what you're reading, because it's always interesting for me to hear. Either way, hopefully you all have a truly fantastic day, and happy puzzling.